Hi, my name's Jesse. I'm a fiddle player and a fiddle teacher, and I've been making these videos for my students and anyone else who wants to watch them, all about bowing and fiddle music. If you haven't watched the other videos in the series, you might want to watch them. I'm going to be talking about some stuff that you may find yourself a little out of your depth if you haven't watched the other videos yet. But I'll put the link to those videos in the description for this one, so you'll be able to find it easily. And I'm going to be talking about a bowing pattern that I don't really have a good name for. I just call it Through the Gates bowing because that's the name of a tune that features that bowing pattern really prominently. So let me just play you a piece of that tune so you can see what bowing pattern I'm talking about. So it's this. It's a little bit of a syncopated bowing pattern. This is where you start getting some syncopation in your playing. So to do it as part of this template that we've been working with, it's going to sound like this. So what you're doing there is 3 notes slurred together on a down bow, 3 more notes slurred together on an up bow, and then a little shuffle, 2 single bows. So the first 3 notes, D, E, and F sharp, those are slurred together, and then the next 3 are E, D, and E, and then down, up on the last F sharp, E. So really slowly it goes like this. And you can hear my foot tapping. Something really important to notice about this, of course in this little template it's really easy because the foot taps always come on the open Ds. Notice what your bow is doing. You tap on at the beginning of the first down bow. The second tap comes in the middle of that next up bow. So as you're in the middle of that slur, you tap your foot and then you just keep on slurring into the next note. So that's what makes it a little syncopated. I don't really I feel like that template, if something like that came along in a tune, I probably wouldn't choose to do this bowing pattern along with those particular notes. It just doesn't feel like a good fit. You might want to just practice it on open strings like this. But if you do that, remember what I just said. You're tapping on the first down bow, but then the second tap comes halfway through the up bow. So make sure you're getting that syncopation there. You might feel tempted to always change your bow direction on the foot taps. That's not how this works. That's what makes it cool. You can just practice it. It's really fun to practice it on just open strings or one way or another. Make sure you keep some lilt in your playing. Don't get it too four-square. That'd take some of the fun out of the fiddle music. So let's put it in. If you don't know this tune, Through the Gates, you should definitely learn it because it's such a fun tune to play. Really good for practicing this pattern. It's probably the best contradance tune ever written, in my opinion. And so it actually starts with a couple of little pickup notes. So you want to start with a little shuffle. There's that first phrase. So you do those slur, slur, and that second slur, as you go down from the F sharp back down to the E, that's part of the slur. So. And you don't actually need to do that whole little shuffle afterwards because you can go right into some chucks. You can chuck on the open D. And you can do 2 chucks and the 3-note up bow slurs that follow them. Second phrase. In that that phrase, you will do the little shuffle afterwards because you're going to go into some single bows. Because the string crossings come in awkward places, you wouldn't want to chuck in that second phrase. You'd be slurring across strings all over the place. So single bows there until you get to those last two notes. Probably want to slur those last two notes, so you're on a down bow for the start of the third phrase. It's a great tune. It's a great way to practice that bowing pattern. Another tune that that bowing pattern comes up in really prominently is an old-time tune called Hunting the Buffalo. It's normally played in cross tuning, but I'll play it for you in standard tuning. So you've got lots of that bowing pattern, both in the A part and in the B part. You can start the B part. There it is again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And it's nice to go into some chuck bowing after that when you've got that little repetitive pattern. It keeps the rhythm for the dancers or whoever's listening. Even if this bowing pattern isn't necessarily built right into the tune, it is a rare tune in 4/4 time that you can't find a way to work this pattern in. And this is a really good opportunity to get creative with your playing and not feel constrained to play the tune exactly the same way every time. Because there's so many places where there's a tune where there's a little rhythm or something that's happening in the tune where you can just take out whatever it might be happening and put in this bowing pattern instead. And you get that little syncopated feel to it, and it just makes the tune really fun to play, fun to listen to, and fun to dance to if you're playing for contra dancers. I feel like this bowing pattern is really built to make contra dancers happy. An example is there's a Scottish tune called Trip to Windsor that you would start it off, if you were playing it in an authentically Scottish way, you'd probably start it off with a really ornamented phrase, something like this. And that's a great way to play it, of course. It sounds really nice, sounds very Scottish that way. But how much cooler is it to do this? Now maybe you wouldn't want to do that every single time you played the A part of the tune. Maybe you'd start it off by playing it with the authentic ornaments and everything, but then if you did that every time, that might get boring, and so you might want to vary it, and you might want to put a little syncopation into it, and that's what this bowing pattern is good for. Really fun, especially if there's people dancing to your fiddle playing. It draws whoops of joy from the dance floor when you play it like that. So I hope this was useful to you. Leave me a comment if you have any questions. I'll be happy to read through the comments and answer any questions that I can answer. If you really feel like digging into these bowing patterns and really figuring out how to incorporate them into your playing, shoot me a message and we can set up some Zoom lessons or something like that, because I'd be happy to help you out with it if you're interested in really figuring out how to get these bowing patterns to work for you. So good luck with your fiddle playing. See you next time.